Hi, this is John Binkson, and this is another ongoing tutorial by Comstock Mobile Global Web. This tutorial is going to be based on Filezilla's FTP client. What this tool is intended to do is take your web pages that you've created either on your laptop or your desktop and to be able to move them onto your host server. This is what it's intended to do. So as you can see here, this is the tool itself, and I'll go into this in just a moment. If you know how to utilize this, you don't need to watch this tutorial. But if you haven't, this is a good tool to use. It's an open source, it's for free, and again, it's very easy to use. So if you want to go to their website and download this, you can go to Filezilla, spelled Filezilla -project, project.org. And as you can see here, this is their homepage. Now, what we have is the buttons down below. We have the client and the server. You don't want to mess with the server. Only download Filezilla's client here. So when you click on it, you're going to see all the platforms that are supported. We have Windows, Linux, and Mac. If you have Linux, you want to download Linux. If you have Mac, you want to download Mac. But if you have Windows like I do, you want to go ahead and download Windows. I'm not going to go through the whole scenario because I think more than likely you know how to do this, but if not, really quickly, you click on that, SourceForge, this is where it's located on. The scenario will let it download in just a second, and what you want to do is you want to be able to save it. So you go ahead and save, and it will quickly save. Once it gets to that point, you want to go ahead and download it. This is on Windows 9, as you Internet Explorer 9, as you can see. So it's done. Go ahead and save it onto your desktop. Once you save it onto your desktop, you can go ahead and load it down. You'll see an icon like I have right here, Filezilla Client, which you'll be able to utilize. Now, let's get into the basics. Let's go through step one. Here we go. The first thing you want to do is you want to be able to learn exactly what these scenarios mean. So we have local site here, which pertains specifically to your desktop site or your laptop site, where all your mobile files are located, or even your standard website files are located. And the remote site deals with specifically your server, your host server. Those files that you've loaded from your home site, meaning your computer, onto the host service that you have purchased. Now, in order to utilize this, what you want to do is you want to go to File, and then you want to go to Site Manager. Now, this second step here is going to bring up the Site Manager dialog box. Now, within this scenario, step two, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and get your host IP number from your hosting service. It might be HostGator, it might be GoDaddy, whoever it is, you want to go ahead and get that from them. Now, I've made this dummy site. What you want to do is when you do this, you want to do new site, and it will bring up a new box under the two that I have that I've created, and you want to go ahead and put your information in there. Say for instance your company is called My Cash Business, and you want to go ahead and submit that in there. It will save it. Now over here again, the host number, the IP number as I was discussing a moment ago, you can get that from your hosting service. They'll give that to you. Usually it's going to be a 12-digit number. So say for instance we have 184 or 182.222.222.222. Now what this is intended to do is help you connect directly to the hosting service of which you will be loading your web pages to be published onto the internet. So this is a 12-digit number broken up into segments of 3. The second part of part 2 is we have a port area. Sometimes they'll tell you, depending on your hosting service, to put a port number in there. It's usually going to be a 2-prong number, so it's going to be 20 or it's going to be 80. Whatever your connection is going to be the connection that you use. I don't need one, and usually from the standpoint of things, you're not going to use one either, so it's going to be left blank. Now, the protocol What you want to do is leave it on the default, which is FTP file transfer protocol. The encryption, leave it on default, use plain FTP. Now down here on the login type, you want to change this from anonymous to normal. What it will do is we'll unshade these two boxes, user and password, from gray into white, so you can go ahead and enter your information. So say for instance, with your information that you set up with your hosting service, you have probably created a username for yourself. So say for instance, your username to be able to get into your own hosting service will be applicable here. So say for instance, it's called My Business. So you put that username in there, if that is what it in fact is. For example sakes here, we're using that. And for your password, they're going to give you a password as well. So in section 2 in Site Manager, you first want to go to creating your new site. Again, you want to create the new site by pressing this button here where it says New Site. It will open up that query. You put in your name of your business or whoever's business that you're doing into this area. You want to go to the host, put in the 12-digit number broken up into threes by periods. You want to keep it FTP file transfer protocol as default. Use plain FTP as the encryption as default. Keep those the same. You want to change the logon from anonymous to normal. And then you want to go ahead and use the username that you have made for yourself on your hosting hosting service that you're with, and utilize that name specifically, and they will give you a password specifically to use, so you can go ahead and utilize the Filezilla client tool. Now what you do is you press OK. That was a dummy site, so it went through. Now I'm going to go ahead and utilize my site specifically so you can see what it does. Now say for instance you set up everything and you go ahead and you click this drop down menu on connecting directly to the server. You go ahead and press what your company is, you click on it, and we don't need to worry about that, but what it does is that it makes sure, as I had just done, that your directory listing is successful. Now what you do from this standpoint, as I explained before, this is your local site, meaning all your files, your web files, your mobile web files, or even your standard website files are going to be on your computer. You need to find them. Mine are on my E drive. You might be on your C drive or wherever you save them. It could be on a flash drive, but that's where you need to locate them. So mine are up here, and these are the files of my business right down here as well. The remote site, it goes to the hosting service specifically. I'm with HostGator, so this is where my files are saved with them. Now say for instance you've made your website, you've got all your web pages ready to go. What you want to do is you want to go into specifically the into your public HTML, click on that, it will open it up. Now you will see all of my files in here that relate directly to my website that is online and present to be seen by everybody. What you want to do then, if you've made your website, you want to click on the files that you've done. You want to go ahead, hold down the right button on your mouse and click it on over to where it is onto the server side, onto the remote side. This is going to come up because I have my pages on there already. If you've done this for the first time, it won't. So go ahead and press OK, and then it will go in. So you do this for each and every file that you've made. I've got an index file, orders file, I've got services, samples, etc. And all you do is you drag those files over to the remote site so it will hook up directly to the hosting service that you're with. Other than that, it's very easy. That is the third step in this. So there's only 3 steps. Again, you create your site, Site Manager, and then you have the dialog Site Manager box come up. You put in the host number. You don't worry about the protocol, the encryption. Logon type you want as normal. The user is your username with your hosting service, and then the password they'll give you as well. Just ask them, they'll give it to you. Also remember to go ahead and click on New Site in order to create your new site. You press OK, you're good to go, and then you'll have your directory listing come up. You'll be able to then take up your website files that you've made and put them over to your remote service site, which is your hosting service. Other than that, this is John Bengtson. If you want to email me, you can at Comstock Global Web. at gmail.com. Thank you.